The painting entitled St. Catherine of Alexandria and St. Jerome constitutes one segment of a Porto San Giorgio altarpiece, exemplifying individuality and codependency of polyptych pieces in observable meaning. Additionally, this composition exemplifies Carlo Crivelli's methods of stylistic embellishment for articulation of character and visual reference to an understood religious narrative. The lunette panel exhibits two saints, whom Philbrook Museum of Art identifies as St. Catherine of Alexandria and St. Jerome. The codex in Jerome's hand is a notable attribute of his, due to his memorable change in heart after a holy dream which led him to assiduously study the Bible. His sunken, dark eyes, paired with the wrinkly, aged skin on his face, are suggestive of his hermit lifestyle. He sports an embossed halo, reiterating his importance to the viewer. His right hand is positioned, index finger up, in a way that suggests his preaching or relaying religious material to the audience. This provided a sense of reality to those kneeling before the altarpiece in prayer or reflection. An element of interaction between worshiper and saint affects a surreal experience for the beholder. The identification of Jerome was established as early as 1771, probably from his usual portrayal with a long white beard and mustache. It has been proposed, however, that the figure is not dressed as a monk or hermit, but rather in the white robes of an apostle under a mantle of pink and green. Paired with the beard, these elements may suggest the identity of the apostle St. John, who was sometimes displayed this way in reference to his writing the Apocalypse and his Gospel in old age. Still, the figure could easily be translated as Jerome, standing as a learned co-defender of the faith next to Catherine. St. Catherine is depicted with a palm in her right hand, signifying her martyrdom, and a wheel in her left, her most popular attribute. This is a recognized symbol because Catherine was put to death by such a wheel, though her Vitae claims she broke it with her holy touch and was killed instead by sword. Thus the wheel accentuates her holy significance. She is crowned and haloed, elements which add to the splendor of her stark blue and pink garments. Crivelli's portrayal of Catherine is exceptional in that he utilized ornamental features to accentuate the hagiographical character of the saint. Catherine of Alexandria is known to have been born of royal blood. Thus, Crivelli depicts her crowned. In stride with her courtly experience, Catherine was recognized as a hero and martyr of Christianity. Her elaborate, richly embossed crown stands as a token of regality, coupled with a golden halo of the heavens. The jewels of the crown seem to gleam and push out into the space of the viewer. These elements were designed in a classic Crivellian manner using pastilia, the application of layered pigments over gold and silver to create dimensionality in the surface of the painting. He accentuates other details as well using this method, such as her morse and collar, sleeve cuffs, and even the menacing spikes of the wheel. Her soft facial features and elegant position of hand in holding the palm express an air of wisdom and sacrifice. This work is one of a 6-part polyptych altarpiece composition that was displayed at the Porto San Giorgio during Crivelli's residence in the Marshes. Today there is an accepted series of paintings that make up the polyptych's entirety. The uppermost panel of the polyptych, a lunette, is of the Lamentation. The centermost panel is the Virgin and Child with the Donor, within which Crivelli included visual representations of the Hortus Conclusus, the garden symbolic of her everlasting virginity. To the left of the Virgin and Child, underneath the Saints Catherine of Alexandria and Jerome lunette, was the Saints Peter and Paul panel. On the opposite side of the central Virgin and Child depiction was another lunette, of the same dimensions as the Catherine and Jerome, which portrays Saint Anthony and Lucy. Below lay another panel of St. George slaying the dragon. Together, these images provide a greater framework for worshippers, instead of seemingly randomly selected saints in a lunette. Each part is smaller than life-size, being roughly 1 foot by 3 or 4 feet in dimension, the Virgin and Child being the largest. Returning to the Philbrook panel, it can be seen that St. Jerome counteracts Catherine's meditative gaze by looking through the picture plane at the viewer. Opposite Saints Anthony and Lucy lunette mimics this pattern. Lucy seems to be in a mode of contemplation, casting her gaze downward to her attributive eyes, while Anthony interacts with the beholder. These panels, within the greater context of the altarpiece, exhibit Crivelli's genius in creating a more naturalistic display. There appears to be movement between the figures in the lunettes, accentuating the feeling of reality for those worshipping at the altar. The gold leaf background weaves the piece into a heavenly golden theme of the altarpiece as a whole. In this way, Carlo Crivelli's St. Catherine of Alexandria and St. Jerome exhibits his use of style in conveying a religious message, as well as the importance of polyptych pieces being understood as a unit.